Hello, today is day 2 of EBV class 2011. My name is Renee Floyd and I'm the owner and operator of BRF Mobile Lube Services. I'll tell you today how my military career got started. I graduated high school in 1985. In June and July 18th, I was on a bus to South Carolina, Fort Jackson, to the recruiting or to the reception station. After finishing reception station, I headed off to Fort Dix, New Jersey, where I attended basic training for 8 weeks. Went off to, well, actually I stayed right there at Fort Dix, New Jersey, and I attended my AIT there, which I attended class for light wheel vehicle mechanic. At that time it was called a light wheel vehicle power generator mechanic, which later turned into just a light wheel vehicle mechanic, which later on in my military career turned to another name that I don't remember at this time. But all of it still meant the same thing. It all boiled down to an automotive technician, and that's what I am today. I've completed 21 years of active duty service in the Army. My duty assignments consisted of the first assignment in Bamberg, Germany, and I spent 3.5 years in Bamberg, Germany. While in Bamberg, Germany, I was promoted from the rank of E2 to E4. I also got married, my first duty station. And I already had a daughter when I entered the military, so now I had a family of 3. My next duty assignment was Fort Ord, California, and while at Fort Ord, California, after being married for 2 years, came along our second child. Then after the second child came along the third one, and after having the third child, I delivered in October, and in January I was off to Somalia. Went to Somalia, spent 90 days there, and came back, spent 6 months at home with the family, and was off to my first tour overseas alone, which was then Korea. I did 1 year in Korea, returned back to Fort Campbell, Kentucky, where my husband and I both, was stationed, because my husband also was in the military as well. And we did 5 years there at Fort Campbell, Kentucky. During our tenure there, my husband actually did a tour in Korea as well. And once he came back, we spent 2 years together there. And then the family headed off to Germany again for a second trip. We went to Wiesbaden, Germany this time. And we really enjoyed our tour there. While in Wiesbaden, Germany, our oldest child graduated high school, and she was sent back to the state at her own choice to attend beauty school. Then, upon our tour in Wiesbaden, we was reassigned to Fort Polk, Louisiana. While at Fort Polk, Louisiana, my unit was activated and deployed to Iraq in March of 2003. We landed the day that the war started. And my unit served for 369 days over there. While there, I met some really great people while actually deployed there. I found that for all the years that I had been told that the reserves weren't, we couldn't depend on them, I found out that I had been preached to wrong, because the reserve unit that was located near my company was actually the unit that saved my unit. And when I said that they saved my unit, they saved us because all the parts that we couldn't get, their unit was receiving them, and they allowed us to get parts from them in exchange for the parts once we did receive them, because we weren't set up to receive our parts right away, and they already had their system set up. allowed us to get parts, and we returned parts back to them as we got them in, and but just created lifelong friends. And I still stay in touch with those guys that I met from that reserve unit at this day, and I've been back since 2004. So I mean, it's been 7 years later. We're still in touch. So created some great friends while over there. There was some stuff that went on over there, but not stuff that I, just find, fascinating to just talk about all the time, because I'm finally just actually getting over the things that took place there. Or not just saying getting over them, but I'm able to get past them, to move on. I joined the military because I was a teenage mother, or a mother in high school, and in the little town that I lived in, there wasn't much going on there. You either were on welfare, Social Security, disability, or you just didn't do anything or become anything. And I was blessed to have a high school basketball coach that actually cared about us. And she always preached to us to stay in school and to do our best, and that someday that we will be somebody, someone will address us as Mrs., and they will respect us for who we are. And I took it to heart, and I vowed to not do some of the things that was the norm at home, and I survived. Here I am now, 26 years later. I have to do the numbers, but here I am now. I've retired out the military, been retired now for 3 years. And excuse me, still can't do that math, but I've been retired now for 5 years. And that brings me to why I'm here today. After retiring out of the military in 2006, actually January 2007 was my official retirement date. I knew what I wanted to do. I knew I wanted to start my business, but I didn't have the funding, so I didn't feel that I had the fundings to start my business. So I decided I would go ahead and complete my degree in business administration. Once I finished my degree, I was like, well, what am I going to do with this? What do I do with the degree, in business? So I decided to find a job. I did. I found a job, and I loved it. It was driving school bus. And then a friend of what was one of my supervisors when I was in Wiesbaden, Germany, he had asked me what was I going to do when I retired. Had I thought about what I was going to do when I retired, and I told him that I was thinking about starting a mobile oil changing business. And he just kind of went, and he didn't ask me anything else about that. And I would have to give him credit today for being the one that came back to me in June of 2009 and asked me again, Renee, what are you doing with that idea of that mobile oil changing business? And once again, I said, hey, I'm still working on my business plan, and I'm trying to get everything together so that, when the time is right, I can get started. But he went ahead and he planted that seed, and he started throwing information at me, and I started doing a little research, and actually I already had everything in hand that I needed to get my business started. So I put all my personal assets together, and I went ahead and purchased a vehicle, purchased the equipment, got my oil together. My business was established in August of 2009. December 17th of 2009, I did my first oil change. I actually did 3 oil changes in the year of 2009, and I was proud of my first $110. I still have my first $5 bill, which is the customer paid me with a 20, a 10, and a 5, so I kept the $5 bill, and I have it in the frame now. And I often look back at it and say, wow, that's mine. And I also have to realize that all this was started from just making a decision to be different. And I joined the military. And I'm pretty proud of myself, and so my family's very proud of me as well. And so uh, it brings me to here in EVB again today, um, while trying to better my business. This young man was assisting me with my all of my marketing material. He did like my business cards, and was doing up brochures for me. And he kept saying, "Well, Miss Renee, what else are you doing for marketing?" And I kept saying, "Well, I'm just going with the word of mouth. I'm just going with the word of mouth." And he said, "Well, have you stopped off over at the SBDC and spoke with Miss Lori over there?" And I was like, "No." So he grabbed me by the hand and walked me into the door and introduced me to Miss Lori. And Miss Lori is the president of the Small Business Development Center there in Columbus, Georgia. And Miss Lori, when I pitched my idea to her, my business, what I'm doing, Miss Lori was like right away, "Well, we are here to assist you. This is what we do. We help small business grow." And she sat me down. She went through some things that I needed to do, or some plans, some steps that she could do to help me. And we started out with the focus group. Focus group was very informative. And I took the information from the focus group, and I started implementing it, and the business started growing. And as the business began to grow, I started to get a little bit afraid that I was going to grow too fast, and I didn't know what to do with the business. But Miss Lori continued to say, "Hey, it's going to be all right. It's going to be all right. Once you do this, you can add this and add this and add this." And she just kept assisting me. And the SBDC offered me a couple of classes. They're called Fast Track Growth Venture. The first one was New Fast Track New Venture. And I took that one. And I learned a lot of information, the basic information about doing business plans, marketing and sales. And then she called me again and said, "Hey, we have a class that's coming up that's called Fast Track Venture. It's a step above the new venture course." And I was like, "Wow, that's exciting." And it's right at the point where now I'm at a point in the business, I don't know what else to do to make it grow. So I went and I attended that class. And when I attended that class, it was just more information just poured on. And it started, the business wasn't growing, but it wasn't growing in the clientele, but I was growing as a business owner. And this is where I began to learn that I didn't have to always work in my business, that I had to take out time and work on my business. And after attending that class, about 3 days later, Ms. Lori sent me a little web link, and she says, "Ms. Renee, this came up, this opportunity came up, and I think you would be a great candidate for it. I don't know if it's something you would like to do, but here's the link. You can go and take a look at it, and if it's something you want, you think you would like to try, I think it would be a great course for you." And it was the EBV. And this was the first time I'd heard of EBV, and I really didn't know exactly what to expect from it. But at this point, I'm excited, and I'm thinking like, I need to grow my business. My goal is to be the greatest on-site oil change business in the industry, in the world, and that's my goal. And I want to do whatever it takes in order for me to achieve that goal. I'm starting to take the market right there in my little area. I'm starting to take the market because I am the only on-site oil change business in the area. And it also helps the fact that I am a female. 98% of my customers are females. My couple of male clients, they are continuously telling other females about me, and they call me and they ask me to come in, and business is just growing, and I'm just elated, and I'm excited, and I want to know all I can know about being a great businesswoman. We're often asked to define success. I defined success when I made a decision to start this business. It was success for me then. Now, before I made the decision, I always saw success as when I had all the big money rolling in, and people were saying, "Oh, that's the lady that owned the oil change business," or that's Miss Renee, that's Miss Floyd, or that's Renee Floyd, that's the lady, have this big chain of oil change, the female mechanic. And but after starting the business, and the more I get into the business, I'm beginning to understand that success is not the money. Success is definitely not the money. I achieve success every time I complete an oil change, and a customer says, "Oh, you saved me so much time. I am so grateful. I am glad you started this business. Where have you been all this time?" Or a customer says, "I was going and I was using such and such dealership for 17 years and I'm not using them anymore. You're it. I'm calling you every time I need." Or if someone calls me and says, "My cousin or my sister or my friend, or I heard about you, can you come over and do my oil change? Or when can you come and do my oil change?" That is success to me. And to get into this EBV class, from the time Miss Lori sent me that link, and I started looking into the application process, and then I went and I did a little research and I started looking at the video of what goes on in EBV. My adrenaline started pumping. I got excited. And it was like, I've got to get to this class. I immediately, I told my husband, I said, "Honey," I said, "I have an opportunity to possibly attend this course, and it's in these 4 different areas." I said, "And I'm going to try to, if you agree or approve for me to go to Florida if I can." And my husband says yes, because a lot of times I throw things at him, and a lot of times I work on stuff behind the scene, but he don't realize I'm doing it, and he just forget about it until boom, I've done it. And so when I mentioned the EBV to him, and he just kind of said, "Oh yeah, okay, yeah, all right." And once I got the call back from Dr. Blast, and I was like, "Baby, I got a call back today," and he was trying, huh? So he said, "Hey, you remember I told you about that class, that class in Florida, I can go to it and get some more training on the business." And he was like, "Oh, okay, when is that, and how are you going to do all that?" I said, "Well, I'm not going to worry about that." I said, "But I've got a long time to get prepared." And I said, "But when the time comes, I'm going, And I just from there, I was just so excited. And since I've been here, I mean, as I mentioned earlier in the video, I had attended 2 other courses that are pretty much similar to this one. Those courses introduced me to a business plan. The second course was a little bit more detailed into a business plan. EBV has combined both those courses together, and we are implementing what they're teaching us. We're going through the day. They're giving us the information. They're not just giving it to us. They're planning it into us. They're planning that information to us. And at the end of the day, which others will call the end of the day, it's really the beginning for us, because we go ahead and we take all of this information that they planted into us, and we begin to grow it. This is day 2, and I've accomplished more in day 2 than I accomplished in the 20 weeks of courses that I did in the other 2 classes. And I am just so excited about it. I'm just really looking forward now till tomorrow to see how much further I get into this course, and to just seeing that business plan, just seeing that presentation, just to hear the dynamic speakers I know we're going to have tomorrow, and to hear the ideas of the people that are in the class, the other students that are in the class. They're asking questions that I know it's answers I need, but I don't know how to put them into questions and ask them. But although their businesses are totally different from mine, they're asking questions that I need answers to that will assist me in my business. So I am just growing. I am totally excited. So with that being said, I'm going to close off for tonight so that I can get up in the morning, be refreshed, so that I can catch all this great information that's coming. I would highly recommend this course to individuals that are very, very passionate about their ideas. This course, let's see if I can put it. If you have an inclination with some pep to it, EBV can help you grow it. And when you leave, you'll reap the harvest. This is Renee Floyd, and I'm signing off. EBV 2011, Day 2.